Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today is the day 2 for our Fortigate Firewall training series. In this video, we are going to understand the fundamentals of firewall, and there are a lot of confusions that regarding what is packet filter, what is stateful firewall, what is application firewall, what is personal firewall, transparent firewall, zone-based firewall, cloud-based firewall, virtual firewall, UTM firewall, and NGFW. And also we'll understand what is network firewall, what is personal firewall. Everything we'll be understanding in this, so that you should be clear enough to understand what category the Fortigate firewall falls in. Okay, so there are a lot of things which I'm going to cover in this video, so I'll request you to please watch this video till the end. And also I'll request you to please subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that you never miss a video from me. So without any further delay, let's get started. So friends, before understanding other terms of the firewall, like what are the types of firewall and all, first of all, we'll understand what exactly a firewall. In very simple words, if you see this scenario, it actually emulated like blocked all unwanted traffic, and allowed traffic means the legitimate traffic, right? So who can decide which needs to be blocked and which needs to be allowed? Who understand the firewall? So who will understand the firewall? The firewall engineer, right? Or maybe I can say administrator, right? Who can become engineer or administrator, right? So in this series, I'll be covering a lot of things regarding the firewall, how it works, what are the features that are available, how you can block it, what are the information that you need to block the traffic, or what are the things that you have to keep in mind. After completing this course, you will be able to understand what is legitimate traffic and what is unwanted traffic. Okay. So after completing this course, once you become engineer or an administrator, you'll know what to be allowed and what to be blocked, right? Now friends, we'll move further and we'll understand what is hardware and what is software firewall. So as friends, that name suggests over here, the hardware software firewalls comes with an appliance. Okay. So these appliances will be very powerful and it will come with their own OS, and it actually covers a wide range of devices. So let's say if you want to block, or maybe not block, if you want to protect a network. So let's say in a network we have maybe 200 or 500 or maybe 1000 devices. With the help of this hardware firewall, you can protect it. Okay. If I talk about software, the software will have very limited features, as well as it will be installed on the top of Windows. So the powerful your PC will be, the more process or the features the antivirus can use it. So it only protects a single device. So maybe it can be a PC, or it can be a mobile, or it can be a tab, right? So now friends, we'll move further and we'll understand what are the types of firewall that are available. Okay, so as we understand what is firewall, okay, so there are network firewall and there are personal firewall. So network firewall can be a hardware firewall. Okay, I'll talk about later, but yeah, network firewall is a hardware firewall and a personal firewall is a software firewall. Okay, so the software firewall can protect your PC, so that is known as endpoint firewall. Okay, but an hardware firewall can be a different type. So that can be a packet filtering, that can be an application firewall, now that can be a stateful firewall, that can be a UTM or NGFW. Now these firewalls can be deployed in different modes. Okay, it can be deployed in transparent mode, virtual mode, cloud firewall, routed mode, or zone based firewall. Okay, so I'll talk about each of the firewall in very detailed. This will be very helpful for the interview questions, because they will be asking a lot of question from these things. So I will request you to please watch till the end. So friends, first of all, we'll understand what is personal firewall. Okay, so personal firewall is nothing but a software firewall. As you can see, this is a prompt that I have showed. I have taken a capture. So these kind of software that gets installed on your PC, and this software will be very helpful to identify virus in your system. So there are a lot of types that are available. I'll not talk about that in very detailed manner, but yeah, you can protect your PC, or maybe your virtual machine, or maybe a server, a laptop, or mobile, or tab with the help of personal. You cannot protect 2 or 3 devices with the help of personal firewalls. Okay, this is because it's an software that gets installed on the top of your Windows, right? So you cannot use that Windows in other machines. It cannot forward, your PC cannot forward the traffics. So that is the reason you cannot use a software in the network to protect you cannot use your personal firewall to protect a network, right? Okay, so now friends, we'll understand what is network firewall. So network firewall is it will be useful when you want to protect your LAN, right? So LAN means, let's say if you are working for a company ABC Limited, okay, ABC company will have their headquarters or maybe an office. Okay, in that office maybe some employees are working. So maybe you can understand like 100 employees are working. Okay, they are sharing something, they are browsing internet, they are going on some Facebook or something. So in that case, in this firewall you can allow, or maybe you can block some of the traffic which is set by this company. So if this ABC company, they are saying Facebook needs to be blocked, or maybe certain IP needs to be blocked, or maybe certain IP needs to be allowed, in that case you can allow or block the traffic in this firewall to protect your internal network, right? Or maybe as you are a network engineer, you should be having an idea that which IP needs to be blocked or which IP needs to be allowed, right? So accordingly you can configure the network firewall. So now friends, as we have understood what exactly a network firewall is and what is firewall, okay, so now we'll understand the types of the firewall that are available. So the first type is packet filtering. Okay, so I expect you guys that you know what is OSI model and how it works, right? So in OSI model we have something called as layer 3. In layer 3, in OSI model known as network layer, okay, and the PDU known as packet, right? Now as the name suggests over here, the packet filtering will be happening on based of the information what is there in the network layer. So in network layer, what is the main purpose and what is the main information that we get? The source IP and the destination IP, right? So what is IP address? It is nothing but an identification in the network that I can say. So let's say if this server wants to communicate to this network, we will be allowing the traffic from this IP address to this IP address, right? As there was lot of limitations was there in standard access list, which was based on only IP information. So the concept which I was explaining, it was about standard access list. Now there was a lot of need that was happening, so they have introduced extended access list. In extended access list, there was extension of more information. Now we'll go to transport layer, right? In transport layer, what is the source port and the destination port? So two information is most important transport layer. As the source port is a random port which is not relevant to us, the destination port is very relevant and it can be used for filtering. So that this packet filtering firewall will also be using the layer 4 information to filter the traffic. Now the filter will be on based of port, so it will be more granular, right? So as if we are doing on IP addresses, all ports will be allowed. As you know, in current scenario, if the ports are open, they are very vulnerable, right? So anybody can attack. What they can find, they can go to the website, they can find what is the vulnerability for the port number 80, how we can attack it, how we can exploit it. So with the help of that, they can do it. But as there was very limited information was available during that time, and later they were having some granular information which they were looking, or it was kind of an enhancement that has been happened. So they have introduced extended access list, right? So now if this user wants to communicate to secure in network, they need IP address as well as the port number. So this is how a packet filtering firewall works. So friends, now we'll understand the packet filtering firewall. Now we'll understand what is proxy firewall. Okay. So as we have understood, the traffic filtering was on based of layer 3 and layer 4 information of OSI model, right? Now there was a lot of limitations was there, which was fulfilled by proxy firewalls. So proxy firewall, what exactly how it works, let me tell you first. So let's say if this is a user, he initiates a traffic towards google.com, okay, google.com, right? The traffic goes to this proxy firewall, and proxy firewall creates a new connection on behalf of this user. He creates a new connection, goes to google.com, okay, and gets the page of google.com, and he forwards the traffic. So there was two connection. One was from client to this proxy server and proxy server to this Google. Now with the help of proxy servers, we will be able to filter it, whether this user can go to google.com or not. Maybe this user can go to facebook.com or not. So that kind of filtering it was possible in proxy firewall, right? Which cannot be possible on packet filtering firewall, right? So friends, as we have understood what is proxy firewall, and there was a few limitations was there with proxy firewall. It only supports the web traffic, okay? So as we understand how proxy firewall works, now we'll move further and we'll take a look at what exactly the stateful firewall is, okay? So to understand stateful firewall, we have to keep in mind how a packet filtering firewall works, okay? then we can understand what is stateful firewall, how it works. So let's suppose I'll just give you some scenario. So let's say C1 wants to communicate to H1. Okay, so we'll write a rule saying that the IP address, the source IP and the destination IP, okay, and the port number, right? So we have wrote the rule. Now traffic went from C1 to H1. Okay, now once the traffic comes here, the source IP will be H1. Okay, the destination IP will be C1 and the port number will be the source port, whatever it is. Okay, now this traffic comes to this firewall as the rule was written like C1 H1 and the port number, some port numbers, maybe 80. Okay, whether this or this is matching, it's not, it is opposite, right? So the firewall will block this one. To solve this problem, the stateful firewall came into the picture. So what happens is, when you write a rule with source IP, destination IP and the port number, what firewall does is, when the firewall allows any traffic, that traffic information will keep in his session table. Okay, so source is C1, destination is H1, port number, you just forget about this TCP sync and all those. Okay, for now. Now once the return traffic comes here, he will refer this table whether this was an existing session which was initiated by C1 or this is a new one. Okay, if this is a new one, it will be blocked, and if it is an existing one, it was allowed. Okay, now how he will understand this is an existing one? Here you have to keep in mind something. Okay, what exactly? Now when the source initiates, so C1 is the IP address, the port number, the source port number will be a random port number. Okay, as he has recorded the port number. The destination is H1 and the destination port number is, let's say, 80. When the traffic comes here, okay, return traffic, I'm just talking about the return traffic, it will be opposite. Now the source will be H1, right? The destination will be C1, the source port number will be the random port which was generated by C1. So let's say he has generated maybe 2048. Okay, so the source port, or not the source port, the source port will be this one 80 and the destination port will be 2048. This server cannot predict a port number. Let's say if it predicts also, that cannot be matched. It'll never get matched, because the processing or the way it generates the source port number, it cannot be same with this server. So this ensures that whatever traffic which is going from this direction can come back, which was not possible in packet filtering, which is been resolved by stateful firewall. Okay, so the proxy firewall was only limited to web traffic. The stateful firewall was not limited to web traffic. It was available for all the protocols. I'll talk about how it got changed and what are the features that has been happened after that. Okay. So as we have seen, for web traffic, we were using Proxy Firewall, right? For all other traffic, we are using Stateful Firewall, okay? So to solve this problem, what happened is a concept, or I can say a new kind of a firewall that has been come to the market, which is known as UTM, Unified Threat Management. This firewall will deals with all this, the firewall, the antivirus, the IPS, web filtering, anti-spam, application control, threat management, WAN. So there was, for every technology, there was a device. So anti-spamware, antivirus, IPS. So that was combined to this UTM firewall, and it was with stateful as well. So as this was a cost efficient, now you understand our traffic which is coming from here, it will go through all the models like VPN, firewall, antivirus, IPS, web filtering, anti-spam, application control, threats. If it goes like this, the performance will be compromised, right? It is giving you lot of features, but at the same time the performance will be compromised. Let's say in your data center, if you are serving 2000 users, as you know, right now they will be having some conference meeting, video calls and all. So in that case, it will be a difficult task for a high-end firewall as well, that how they will serve this. So to solve the UTM feature problem, they have come with NGFW. I'll talk about now. So now as we understand what is UTM and how it performs, now there was a lot of problems which are there in UTM as well. To solve that problem, they have come with next generation firewall. The next generation firewall, it does a deep packet inspection. So what deep packet inspection is, it understands the application, and in that application what exactly that is running, it can block as well. So it was actually focusing on application behavior and IPS, web filtering, SSL inspection and threat management as well. It was not focused on all the technology which was available. So let's say if you want to go for UTM, you can go for medium size industries. But if you want to go with next generation firewall, when you want to go, when you have enterprise, big enterprises, right? In that case, you have to go with next generation firewall, because UTM will not give you that much of performance, right? So you have all type of solutions that are available. Maybe in big enterprise, if you want to take the next gen firewall, you can just do firewall filtering, or maybe IPS, or maybe application control. You don't want to use web filtering or SSL inspection or maybe threat management. You can go a different device for that. So maybe for web filtering, you can go for other device. For SSL inspection, you can go for other device, maybe F5 or load balancer or something. So it depends on your requirement. If your organization is too big, in that case, you can go for this kind of solutions, right? So now we'll understand how we can deploy this firewall. Okay. So there are modes that is available, right? So these are the modes. Zone-based firewall. So zone-based firewall is nothing but, as we have already, if you have studied Cisco routers, in Cisco routers, you have come across about a zone based firewall. Okay, now if I talk about Palo Alto firewall, that is also a zone based firewall. So it depends on the firewall, how it has been designed, how you can design and deploy that. So you have to understand what kind of firewall it is and you have to deploy accordingly. If we talk about virtual firewall, what we can see in EVE-NG, right? In EVE-NG, that is kind of a virtual firewall that we see. Okay, these are the things, VM series. Now cloud-based firewall. Cloud-based firewall is nothing but it's a virtual firewall which will get implemented on the cloud. So in the cloud, if you have network and if you want to protect that network, and if you want to implement a firewall, you can deploy a cloud-based firewall, which is nothing but a virtual firewall, right? Now transparent firewall, this is also a kind of a deployment mode that you can use. In transparent firewall, no one will able to trace there is a firewall in between, because it will be it works at a stealth mode. So in stealth mode, what happens is, if some traffic goes through this firewall, it checks from layer 2 information till layer 7. Okay, so it depends on what are the features that you have turned it on, but it checks from layer 2, so it can understand your VLAN information as well, right? If you have understood something new, I request you to please give it a like. If you have any suggestion regarding my video, please put me on the comment, or you can send me an email. Maybe you can send me a message on Facebook or Instagram, wherever you want. And I'll request you to please subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that you never miss a video from me. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.